Hello and welcome to Extra Things. While working on 10 things about Twinsomnia, I had the stark realization that I forgot to go back and cover the latest versus Whitty update. Whitty was my first 10 things about a mod, so it's a little embarrassing that I put off covering it until now. As some of you may know, versus Whitty was originally taken down, much to the dismay of fans of the character, but made a surprise return with a few extra bells and whistles in Definitive Edition, and then the Silva update just 2 weeks later on its anniversary. This extra content is the bulk of what we're going to be covering today, so let's get into it. First things first, we gotta play the original versus Whitty week in order to unlock some new additional content, which will be a nice trip down memory lane. One of the most notable differences is Girlfriend, whose sprite has been updated from her original appearance with a more dynamic and less awkward pose. Don't miss the old GF too bad though. We'll be seeing more of her later during the Silva update content. Another thing to note is that unlike the original mod, Girlfriend is not scared of Whitty during Ballistic. This is because, as stated in 10 Things About Whitty,
in the base game, Girlfriend is depicted as fearless due to her confidence in Boyfriend, who is so stupid he is incapable of fear.
So it makes sense the devs would change it. Another thing to note in the main week is that the camera moves more dynamically during songs and cutscenes, and that Ballistic has been updated yet again. Now that we've gotten the main week out of the way, let's talk about the new character, Julian. Julian T. Whitmore is a Whitty from another dimension, as seen by the distinct physical features they share, like dark skin, tall lanky body, and a large mouth. His now unlocked week, just like old times, contains only one song, Underground, a remix of Overhead, but the other two tracks, Low Rise, a remix of Low Fight, and Hungry, are available through the free play menu. Julian seems to have somewhat similar abilities to Ballistic Whitty, and partway through Underground, the characters in the background become wireframe, similar to Whitty's half of the alley during Ballistic. And just like Whitty, has eyes that change between triangle, square, and X, though their right animation, the X appears to be more of a plus. As you can see, we're not in the typical Whitty back alley, and we've got a whole mural of artwork to look at. For example, we got, you know what guys, why don't you just look at this one on your own time? The final non-high quality rip Julian song is Hungry, where Julian appears to be calling Boyfriend at his job at McDonald's. This song is a cover of Roddy Ricch's song Balling, but specifically the parody by I So Kenny, where Roddy seems to be ordering an impossibly large meal, to which Kenny just leaves. Couple funny things to note about the background of the song is the fact that the moon is smiling, the payphone is called a P-phone, and one of the menu items above Boyfriend is called the Salad and Sex Combo, in reference to the shop name in the mall of base Friday Night Funkin. In order to unlock our next character, we gotta do some file digging. In the images directory of the mod, we have an image simply called the.png, which reveals a semi-cryptic riddle. Now I know the answer to this riddle, not because I have a 666 IQ, but because all of the song names are just in the songs directory. This new track, Faucet, stars Nitty Gritty, who isn't Whitty. The song is named after one of the most common household problems, that being a leaky faucet, playing into this theme of the character being leaked. Nitty Gritty is based on the design of Julian that made its way onto the Funkin 4chan board, presumably involving the sand planet person mentioned in the riddle, that was redrawn from memory and posted. The stage itself, Boyfriend, and Nitty are all based on this leaker's redrawing of the art, with Nitty's sprite sheet even being called thanks4chan.png. Speaking of file digging, I found a couple interesting things while rooting around. First things most people notice is that the assets have some pretty funny names, like the new Girlfriend sprites are called Ovaries, Wireframe Boyfriend is called Pinos, and Julian and his subsequent sprite sheets are called Testes. These are just a few examples of the naming scheme for the assets. There's also unused audio for cutscenes that were going to take place before and after Underground, found in the gallery folder. They seem to be a more goofy kind of retelling of the story of versus Whitty, where Julian asks Boyfriend for Daddy Dearest's contact info, but needs to prove himself to the little guy first. A bunch of art and Julian's FLA file can also be found in this folder. Looking at this FLA reveals that Girlfriend's new design has a hidden smiley face on her right arm that goes unseen due to it being behind her body. We also see that the XML files for Pixel BF and Whitty and Hotline Miami states, created with fucking Notepad, you, instead of created with Adobe Animate, because they're pixel images not made in Animate. McDonald's Boyfriend is called minimum-BF in the debug menu due to fast food typically being a minimum wage job. We also see the return of Dad But Better, a weird stretched out and wonky looking edit to Daddy Dearest sprites. Finally, the last discovery of note is there's an image of Squidward with Whitty's color scheme called Whitward. Really couldn't go 2 videos in a row without talking about Squidward, could I? Before we move on to the high quality rips provided in the Silva update, it's important to note that the previously included character Updike was removed from Definitive Edition due to Sawclip wanting the 2 characters to be separate. In the original story, Updike was the leader of an organization called the Greater Good that would eliminate threats, and Whitty being a literal walking talking bomb made him fall into that category. Updike that got their own, albeit as a joke, mod featuring their redesign. There's currently no known future plans for the character as of writing this. Alright, high quality rip time. So the YouTube channel Silva Gunner has been a long-standing icon in the video game OST mashup community, producing frequent remixes of well-known VGM tracks. The joke of the channel is that the community refers to these remixes as high quality rips, creating the guise that they are official video game tracks, but they're anything but. I can't count the amount of times I've listened to a track from an old game and then all of a sudden I hear the fucking Flintstones theme song and realize what channel I'm on. With tons of creators submitting their mashups, it's no surprise that Friday Night Funkin' is a game they cover fairly often, both mods and base game. Since they usually chart and create new sprites to showcase these songs, implementing them into Whitty Definitive Edition almost seems like a no-brainer. The name of the first batch of HQ rips is called Doyless Week, in reference to the glitch from Sonic the Hedgehog 3, where bonus stage would actually read Doyless Stage. In my opinion, the most impressive HQ rip in this update is Ballistic HQ, which replaces Whitty with Jacket's main mask Richard, and Boyfriend with the Rat Mask Richter from Hotline Miami, and mashes up the track Lay Perv from Hotline Miami 2 Wrong Number with the original Ballistic. The dialogue, scoreboard, and multipliers are just like in the game, only in Miami it's used as a quick death count bonus, so if you see a high number during the song, you are literally killing it. Another personal favorite rip is Ballistic Beta Mix, which is a Slam Jam remix featuring Quad City DJ's original Space Jam theme. Whitty's head is replaced with a basketball and Boyfriend is given Charles Barkley's head. Even though he's just a minor character in Space Jam, Charles Barkley is often depicted in these mashups in the role of the character the song originates from. The Space Jam theme is mostly drums and vocals, making it easier to speed up and slow down to match the BPM of the song it's being paired with, without having to worry about it sounding out of tune. Faucet HQ, which can only be accessed through the debug menu like regular Faucet, is a cover of Roddy Top's theme from Shantae, and even includes the character in place of Girlfriend. The original Faucet does kind of sound like Roddy Top's theme, so the mashup was a bit of a no-brainer. The other HQ rips don't really change the look of the stages, so we'll just go down the list here. Low Fight HQ is Renai's Circulation, and Overhead HQ is Runaway Baby by Bruno Mars, both of which were composed by Sarv Productions, who's the voice of Monster and Twinsomnia. Low Rise HQ is literally just the top loader cover of Dancing in the Moonlight. Underground HQ is Bang Bang by Kanon and Adam Levine. Underground in-game mix is the theme for the Angry Joe Show. And Hungry HQ is Snowhalation, then back to Hungry, then ends with the motif of Low Fight. There's a few differences between the backwalls during certain songs, most notably the word dip being replaced by HQR, standing for high quality rips. The Stussy in the foreground of Julian stages is also replaced by the number 7, which gives me the idea that it's a 7 Granddad reference that shakes me to my very core. And that's extra things about Whitty Definitive Edition. I hope you enjoyed. It's a bit of a nostalgia trip being able to go back and play this mod. I'm fairly certain moving forward there isn't going to be any more Whitty updates. I haven't really heard anything about it, but I'm alright with that. Alright, thanks for watching. Until next time.